The day Savannah Blake walked into the office, an odd tension slithered through the building like an icy breeze sneaking through a cracked pane. Something about her presence was unsettling, flawless in appearance, composed to a fault, and unmistakably ruthless. I was seated behind my desk, feigning concentration on a stack of quarterly figures, though every instinct in me buzzed with warning. She entered with the air of someone who already considered herself in charge. Conversations faltered. Heads turned. Her deep blue suit hugged her frame with precision, each step of her heels landing like clockwork on the tile, and her eyes cut across the room like she was surveying prey. When her stare locked onto mine, I dropped my gaze to the folder I was holding. "You're Ethan, aren't you?" Her voice pierced the silence with surgical precision. "Yes," I answered. "Great." She dropped a pile of folders onto my desk like she was unloading something beneath her. "Some easy tasks. Don't hurt yourself." I kept my expression neutral. Her glance flicked to the frayed thread on my shirt collar, then to my slightly askew tie. Her lip twitched in disdain. "Make an effort to look professional. Standards matter now." That was her first jab. Later that week, she led a morning meeting and asked for ideas on the Anderson project. I contributed a strategy I'd used successfully with a previous client. She paused, staring at me like I'd spoken a foreign language, then let out a dry laugh. "How precious," she said. "Let's leave the real planning to people who've read more than the employee manual." Shifting chairs and awkward glances followed. Heat climbed up my neck. I said nothing. I began showing up earlier, hoping to steer clear of her. It didn't help. One morning, she strode over and tapped a finger against the granola bar on my desk. "No eating here," she snapped. "Especially not whatever this is." The way she said it, you'd think it was something dead. "Take your dorm room habits elsewhere." I tossed the half-eaten bar in the bin, jaw clenched. A few days later, I was stepping into the elevator just as she was coming out. She gave me a once-over and muttered, "You again. This place feels smaller by the day." By Friday, I overheard her laughing in the hallway with another department head. "He actually thinks he's contributing," she said, amused. "It's kind of sad, really." Still, I wasn't worried. People like Savannah always flared up quickly, and burned out just as fast. What she didn't know, what no one knew, was that I wasn't just another employee at a desk. I owned 91% of the company. And I had my reasons for keeping that to myself. Then came Wednesday. She burst into the office and dropped a document in front of me with enough force to shake the pens. "Ethan, want to explain this disaster?" I looked at the paper. An email sent to one of our biggest clients. They were furious, threatening to sever ties entirely. And my name was on the message. "I never sent this," I said, confused. She crossed her arms, narrowing her eyes. "Of course not," she replied dryly. "But it came from your workstation." And that's when it clicked. Someone had planted it. "I've never written anything like this," I insisted. She scoffed. "Sure. Just like you didn't forget to loop in legal last week, or leave a coffee stain on that signed contract. You're not just clumsy, you're a liability." Her tone grew sharper, louder, for everyone nearby to hear. "Maybe filing cabinets are more your level. Color coding, alphabetical order. Less chance you'll embarrass yourself." She leaned closer, flashing a tight, insincere smile. "Less damage that way." Mia from reception hurried over, clearly uneasy. "Is everything all right?" Savannah turned to her with a chilly grin. "Everything's fine. Ethan's just demonstrating why he should never be trusted with client emails again." I kept my fists clenched beneath the desk. This had nothing to do with a rogue message. This was about breaking me in front of others. The following day, during a team presentation, I stood to lead a walkthrough of a data visualization. I hadn't spoken for even half a minute when Savannah cut me off. "Apologies," she said, her tone dripping with fake courtesy. "Is this your idea of public speaking?" A few uneasy chuckles rippled across the room. She shook her head, clearly unimpressed. "Let's move on to someone who actually knows what they're doing." After the meeting, she passed by my chair and muttered under her breath, "This isn't for you. Some people just don't have it." By then, I'd stopped reacting, not because her words no longer hurt, but because I was biding my time. Then came the shareholder meeting. You could feel the tension humming in the air. Savannah stood near the tall windows, laughing easily with two senior executives. The moment I walked in, her eyes locked on me. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "This meeting is for leadership and shareholders only." "I was invited," I answered evenly. She gave a short, cruel laugh. "Don't embarrass yourself. Leave before someone makes you." I didn't move. I already knew what was coming. The company president walked in and called the meeting to order. A moment later, he paused. "There's an important matter regarding ownership that needs to be addressed," he announced. "Ethan Cole currently holds 91% of this company's shares." A wave of stunned gasps swept through the room. Savannah's face went slack. "That can't be right," she stuttered. "He's just a regular employee." I stood. "Not exactly," I said. "I've been here all along, watching, waiting. And now, the truth's on the table." Her face went pale. The president nodded. "Ethan has been the silent controlling stakeholder for years. As of today, his authority is officially recognized company-wide." I looked straight at her. "You said I didn't belong here," I said calmly. "Turns out, I built the place." Her expression shattered, but the real reckoning hadn't even started. The next morning, both of us were called into the president's office. Savannah walked ahead of me this time, no confidence in her stride, no smug smile. Inside, the atmosphere was heavy, thick with consequence. "You've both given a lot to this company," the president began, his voice measured. "But what happened yesterday shifted everything." Savannah opened her mouth quickly. "I didn't know who he really was." "And that's exactly the problem," I said, cutting in. "You treated people terribly because you believed they were beneath you." The president's gaze turned serious. "You mocked, bullied, and disrespected your colleagues, Savannah, including the man who owns this company." She turned toward me, her eyes glassy. "Ethan, I didn't mean to." I shook my head. "No, you did." The president leaned forward, tone final. "Savannah Blake, your behavior is unacceptable. You are terminated, effective immediately." Her whole body shook. "No, please. You can't do this." "You may gather your belongings before the end of the day," he replied firmly. "Security will be available if needed." She looked at me one last time, desperation clinging to her face. "I messed up, I know. But I was under pressure. I didn't realize." "I felt pressure too," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "But I never used it as an excuse to be cruel." She started to speak again, then thought better of it. Her mouth closed, and she nodded once, shoulders heavy. The president stood. "This discussion is finished." Savannah slowly rose to her feet, walked to the door, and hesitated just before leaving. She looked back at me. The pride, the superiority, gone. What remained was remorse. I didn't say anything. The door clicked shut behind her, and the tension seemed to drain from the room. The president let out a slow breath. "That wasn't easy. But it had to be done." "It was long overdue," I replied. He offered a quiet, approving smile. "You handled this with integrity, Ethan. I respect that." "Thank you," I said. "Now it's time to start rebuilding." And that's exactly what we did. With Savannah gone, a sense of calm returned to the office. The weight of fear had lifted. In its place was something steady, something strong. The company could finally breathe again.